Let me say that again. It's the Castro Valley Unified School District's meeting of the Board of Education for Wednesday, January 31st, 2024. I'm Mike Kuziak, the board president. We have an action item on approving our agenda. Do I have any motions out?
I move that we approve the
We have
agenda.
one motion. I need a second motion.
Second it.
We have two motions. Now let us vote.
Yes.
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 And I am a yes. That is 0-4. I would just note that Trustee Whitaker will not be at this meeting this evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Kuziak, president of the Castro Valley Unified School District Board of Education. We are back from closed session, and I'm happy to report we have nothing to report from closed session. So with that, I'm going to turn to Trustee Raymond to read our mission statement. And before she does that, I do want to point out those represent our values here in our district. We as a leadership team and our senior staff and many other folks in this district agreed to them. Check them out. They're on our website. We also have them printed out here. I encourage you to take a look, and I'll hand it over to you, Trustee Raymond.
Thank you. We work together to provide safe, challenging, innovative, and culturally responsive learning environments to ensure that all our students feel respected and supported to achieve their unique academic potential and explore their individual talents.
Excellent. And even though we're not going to public comments yet, I'm going to provide the public comment instructions. The board respects and encourages the public to comment on matters on the board agenda and within the board's jurisdiction. The board fully supports civil discourse and requests that everyone respect each other and their point of view. Individuals who would like to address the board must complete a request to speak form, which you can find in the back of the room there, or via the Google form online at www.cv.k12.ca.us/public comment/ and submit it prior to the start of the agenda item. At the discretion of the board president, speaker cards may be accepted after the start of the agenda item. Your name will be called and you will either come to the podium to speak or unmuted during your time and will be allowed to make public comments. After the allotted time, you will then be remuted. Individual speakers are asked to limit their comments to no more than 3 minutes unless the board decides otherwise. The board does have the discretion to reduce the time because we have 30 minutes in total for comments. There are up to 30 minutes of public comment allowed on each agenda item. With board consensus, the president may increase or decrease the time allowed. This meeting is being recorded to prepare the official minutes. To comply with the Brown Act, the board may listen to comments from the speakers under public comment, but can neither discuss nor take action on the issues presented. And with that, let us go to, I hear so there's some Jaguars in the house. Jensen Ranch, come on down.
Yay. We've got an amazing newspaper.
All right, well, we are super proud of all of our kiddos who are here with us this evening. Tonight, we are doing our presentation on the JRE Gazette, which is our student newspaper. And so title, JRE Gazette, written by kids for kids. So good evening, my name is Lisa McLean. I'm the principal at Jensen Ranch. And again, as I mentioned, our presentation tonight is going to focus on the JRE Gazette, a newspaper written by students for students. And it highlights the important role a student newspaper plays in our school community. The JRE Gazette began as the idea of a third grade student during the pandemic. During her 4th year, the student brought her idea to life by creating the first issue of the JRE Gazette in 2021. The student initially wrote many of the articles and invited a few other students to contribute. During the 22-23 school year, more students became interested in writing for the JRE Gazette and wanted to share their ideas with the school community. Fast forward to this year, we have 12 to 15 students, many of which are here with us tonight, who are actively involved in working on each edition of the JRE Gazette during their lunchtimes. I would like to now introduce you to the JRE Gazette writers and editors who will be sharing with you this evening, and they're just going to give you a little wave when I call their name. So on our 4th grade group, we have Reese, Aisha, Emmy, Sebastian, Danielle, Ahona, Addie, and Audrey. Audrey's here yet. Okay. Yay. And for our 5th grade team, we have with us this evening, we have Ophelia, Vaishnavi, Mila, Hannah, and another one of our writers is Aaliyah, and I'm not sure if she'll be able to join us, but she is also a very active member in our group. So I'm now going to turn the mic over to our interviewers as they interview the members of the JRE Gazette. So I'm going to have you guys come over here. Is it okay if is this a good spot here in the center? Okay.
Absolutely.
Like we.
So do I face them?
Yeah, so you guys want to, this is your audience. So you want to make sure you bring the mic over to them when you need it.
And do you mind if we act as photojournalists back here? Can we take some photos?
Why is it important to have a school newspaper written by kids? It is important because the JRE Gazette inspires kids to write about what they love.
The JRE Gazette is kid-friendly. It helps us get to know one another better and strengthens our relationships at Jensen Ranch.
It is important because the kids are the ones at school experiencing the activities in the school. It's also another reason why it's important is because the younger kids are going to be inspired to write at the JRE Gazette. How do you think the JRE Gazette benefits you and others? It benefits me and others because it is fun to write the article and it is fun to read.
It benefits me because I get a bit of recognition, and it benefits others because they have something fun to read.
Benefits kids because it helps them express their feelings through the Gazette. What does the Jerry Gazette mean to you? The Jerry Gazette is a place where students express their feelings, thoughts, and ideas through the Jerry Gazette.
What it means to me is a place where I can write with other people who like the same things.
What it means to me is an opportunity to write.
What do you love about the Jerry Gazette?
The GRE Gazette is like a quilt. It has so many different perspectives that are all brought together to make something that everyone can enjoy.
I love the way that the Gazette comes together in such an orderly fashion. I also love the way that people work together to make something beautiful.
The GRE Gazette is like a second family, and the family has determined brains to write. What makes things easier is the way we share our ideas, and younger kids can look up to grown kids for more information. Audrey isn't here, but she would like to say, I love the way that people get. I love the way we get to write together with the other people, and kids are going to be able to see my writing. I love working in groups and cooperating with other JRE Gazette members. I also like the fact that some articles can help others improve themselves or other people.
What got you interested in being involved in the school newspaper?
I got interested in joining the school newspaper because I love to write, and the GRE Gazette seemed like the perfect place for me to share my ideas and see them in print.
I got interested in joining the school newspaper because I enjoy writing informational, but I didn't like other writing. I also thought that I could meet more people through the Gazette.
I always wanted to be an author, so this will help me develop my writing. Also, I want to share my ideas and my stories with the whole school. Soon, my writing will be heard by the whole world.
How do you come up with ideas?
Speaking for Audrey again, I think of something I know about, but others don't know much about. Then I write what I know about the topic. I then find out even more to add to the article. Other strategies is to think of a problem, what people wonder about, and write solutions or way to help.
Sometimes it is very hard to think of what to write. When I'm stuck, I ask myself 3 questions. What do I want to read about? What do others want to read about? And what do I want to write about? These 3 questions help me decide the perfect topic to write about. But writing an article is not the only way students at Jensen can contribute to the GRE Gazette. Surveys and art submissions are a way for all the grades to get involved with the newspaper. In surveys, we ask a short thematic question to the whole school. Recently, we did a survey asking students where they went over winter break. Art submissions are another great way to include student voices from all grades. Even though we all do projects in class, we rarely get a chance to share them with the entire school. The GRE Gazette surveys and art submissions are an opportunity for everyone to share their thoughts and creations with the entire school.
What inspires you, or Aaliyah's not here. Okay. What inspires you to write? What are you most interested in writing about?
Speaking for Aaliyah, she said that the reason behind my inspiration for writing is rooted in my family. I've always felt like the one whose voice is least heard among my family. Does anyone here understand how I feel about being the family member who is least listened to? However, when I put pen to paper, I speak through the written word, and it's like a whole new world opens up to me. Writing is my way of breaking the silence and speaking up about something important to me. Through writing, I feel empowered and capable of making a difference in the world. I'm most interested in writing stories and dream of interviewing famous people to share and hear the unique experiences and perspectives.
How long does it take to write an article?
It takes about a month to write the whole Gazette. It takes another 1 week to brainstorm some ideas. It takes another 2 to 3 weeks to write an article. In the end, it takes a week for editors to finalize the article. Usually the week we finish the articles when the Gazette comes out.
What have you learned during the writing process for the Gazette?
Well, I have faced the challenge of finishing the article before the deadline. To me, sometimes it may feel like the end, but is only the beginning.
What is your role as a newspaper editor? My role as a newspaper editor is to prepare the articles for the public to read and enjoy. I review the articles, check the facts, and see how the article will be sent to readers. One of the challenges of being an editor is trying to keep the article original and true to the author. Why is the job of an editor important to creating a successful student newspaper? The job of an editor is important because it's the final steps to finishing the article before it's printed and shared with the whole school, kind of like the last step in assembly line. I make sure that everything is okay before distribution, a little bit like the quality control inspector.
All right, and we had a couple of our students come in late, so I do want to just have Audrey, if you want to come over here just so that you can wave to folks and just say hello. Just give them a little hello over there. And Aaliyah also walked in, and so Aaliyah, I want to give you an opportunity. I know you're the first section. So this is about Aaliyah's why she wants to be a part of the JRE Gazette.
My grandfather was the driving force behind my interest in writing. His story was so compelling that it even made it to thousands of newspapers across the US. But the reason it was so compelling was because he was a nobody. He rose from the ashes and became a great person for fighting against injustice. It is truly inspiring to know that my grandfather was recognized by none other than Rosa Parks herself for his stand against injustice. My passion lies in documenting the accomplishments of others, but I also yearn to tell my own story. I love that writing empowers me and gives me a voice.
So I just want to say I am so proud of these kids every day. They give up their time. They want to come. They want to work. They want to just create stories and content for our school community, things that they love, but they're also learning that it's important to figure out what our school community also loves to make sure that then we have readers, not just writers. So that's a big part of the process. What I'd like to do is have them, they're going to come around and give you a copy of our December edition. We're currently wrapping up our articles for January, and we'll be happy to share them with you when it comes out. So thank you very much. I'll pass this out and then we'll be free for questions.
I'm getting nostalgic for the day when there actually were newspapers.
Does anybody else need one?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I have. Okay, I got it.
Just
We'll take,
We'll take it. Thank you.
and I'll take one.
Take
She'll take
one.
one. Well, I'll take one.
Thank you.
Well, we'll come back to questions in a few minutes. First, we're going to do some presentations. We're going to recognize some very important people who are a part of the Jaguar community. First, I'd like to ask Isabella Ma to come on down.
The governance team, along with Jensen Ranch Elementary School, are proud to honor Isabella Ma as an outstanding student. Isabella Ma exemplifies what it means to be a Jensen Jaguar. She is studious, hardworking, but also enjoys herself as she is learning. Her kindness and positivity is contagious. She is curious, often going above and beyond to seek out additional learning opportunities, both inside and outside of the classroom. Last year, she was even a regular contributor with the JRE Gazette, and this year she's participating in Science Olympiad. Isabella's favorite subjects are social studies and science. She also enjoys making art. When she grows up, Isabella wants to be a scientist or own her own business. Isabella offers help to her teachers and classmates without ever expecting anything in return. When she has an idea, she initiates and follows through independently. Even though she is somewhat shy, her quiet leadership is evident in the fact that her classrooms respect her when she speaks up and comes up with ideas. She also encourages others to put in their best effort by helping wherever she can. She truly demonstrates every quality of the PAW Pledge. Jensen Ranch Elementary School and the Castro Valley Unified Board of Trustees are very proud to honor Isabella Ma as our outstanding student.
Isabella, if you would like to say anything, you can. And if you'd like to introduce any special people out there in the audience, you can do that as well.
I would like to show some special family to me. My grandparents and my grandpa from Taiwan. My parents and my little sister.
Thank you, Isabella. And next, I would like to invite Tracy Choi to come on down.
Jensen Ranch and the Castro Valley School Board would like to recognize Tracy Choi as Jensen Ranch's outstanding volunteer of the 23-24 school year. Tracy has been an active and invaluable member of the Jensen Ranch community for the past 13 years as a parent, volunteer, and most recently a staff member. She can always be counted on to help out whenever needed, ready to support students, teachers, and our programs. She is kind and respectful and a positive role model. Tracy has been a room parent, parent liaison, helped with field trips, helped with PTA programs and school events such as book fair registration, Battle of the Books, walkathon, hearing and vision screening, picture day, and fifth grade advancement. Tracy is best known for her role as a leader of JAM, Jensen Ranch Art and Music, where she put together presentations about composers and artists and led successful art lessons for our students. After the pandemic, Tracy joined the Jensen team as a campus supervisor and also assisted by subbing in the office. Jensen Ranch and the Castro Valley School Board is extremely grateful for the support Tracy has given to the Jensen Ranch community as their outstanding volunteer. Thank you. Thank you. If you would like to say something.
Miss McLean said I didn't have to say anything, but since I do, I would really like to thank Miss McLean and the Jensen School and all these wonderful kids for having me on campus. It's been going to be hard leaving you guys, but thank you for allowing me for the parents to spend time with your kids and watch them grow and learn as well. And thank you to the staff at Jensen for allowing me on the campus. And for just all your support. And they're such a great team to work with and hang out with. And lastly, to my family. So my husband and my 3 kids are here. Thank you for kids letting me come on field trips with you guys and being the mean mom. But yeah, just thank you for the opportunity to be a part of Jensen.
So now I'd like to invite the board to ask any questions and say lots of nice compliments.
I just wanted to say that to the writers of the Gazette, I think you guys are doing an amazing job, and I hope that you guys continue to do the school newspaper throughout middle school and then come help us with the Olympian at the high school, because there's a lot that you can do with that, and this already looks amazing. And to Isabella, congratulations, and I hope good luck with Science Olympiad. I know that's a lot of work, but it sounds like you definitely have it handled. And to Tracy, congratulations and thank you for everything that you do. And also, I love your daughter, Abby Choi. So that's like a super bonus. So thank you.
So I loved hearing from all these amazing journalists over here tonight. I jotted down a few words that I was hearing from you, and I noticed a lot of curiosity and a lot of passion for your community and your friends and your families. But I think most importantly, I really loved hearing comments from you all about having your voices heard and feeling like you have a place to express yourself. We're in a world where that's so important, both of those things. And so I hope that this experience really follows you through your life. And helps you inspire others to find their ways to have their voices heard and express themselves. So keep up the really amazing work. I'm looking forward to reading the paper. So thank you for bringing that to us tonight. Congratulations to Isabella. And also I just want to say to Tracy, a mutual friend told me last night that you truly deserve this. So, so congratulations.
Thanks for a great report, and what a great activity. I mean, this is fantastic. I think that students getting an opportunity to write and express themselves is really fantastic. It's a great way to learn by doing and reinforce all the lessons we want them to know about. But as Trustee Raymond just mentioned, this is a skill. Learning to write is really a big deal. Almost every job that you can think of has a component of writing in it. So will stand you in good stead forever. And I also hope just that you keep on writing for newspapers and actually get into the habit of reading newspapers, because that would help us all a great deal. So thanks very much for a great report, and congratulations on the newspaper, and special congratulations to Tracy and Isabella. Thanks very much.
I want to thank the kids that came up and said a lot of really positive words that the writing of this Gazette has brought out. Many talked about fun. Somebody spoke about many perspectives. Another person was talking about working together or cooperation. What a great job skill that is. Somebody had talked about loving to write, enjoying informational writing, sharing their ideas. Another person mentioned about feeling empowered. These are all wonderful soft skills, and then the writing, the hard skills that are going to be so useful in your future. So it's really wonderful to see all this. What is that? Positivism? Is that right? Positivism? Yeah, from the Jensen Ranch group. Thank you.
I just not to repeat everything, truly empowering. And I think this is an area that we need more and more of. We need, because we know just globally, journalists are under attack, because they, especially the ethical ones who really want to share stories that are not heard by other people, and to make sure that everyone else is aware. So this is amazing. I love the way you did this. And that's really kudos to Miss McLean, who's so creative, so loves working with kids. That kind of gives you that little, the thing that we miss as administrators is teaching big time every day, right? And this is like one way that you're actually engaging with students. And I love the way you did it with interviews. You guys did a beautiful, beautiful job. And your newspaper is amazing, because I've read it before. And I love how you survey to see what the interest level is. And then of course, something maybe you're interested in, and you share your voice, and you never know, something that you think nobody wants to know about and you write about could be the beginning of someone wanting to know even more. So I want to thank you for that beautiful presentation. Isabella, great job. What a wonderful young lady. And I love how your family is here to to be here to honor you. Thank you for being here. And Miss Choi, thank you so much for everything you're doing. You're just gracious. And I know, as Ms. Raymond said, well-deserved. Thank you.
Well, Isabella, congratulations on being recognized by your school. That's a really big honor. And I know you're going to do great things at middle school. So prove us right. We hope to get some updates from you in the next few years. Tracy, I just want to say you're a Jaguar for life. So, and I know we got a principal there who would love to invite you back. And I know we've got some middle schools and high schools that would love your support. So thank you, because our parents and guardians out there really do drive a lot of what we do in our school communities. So unfortunately for y'all, you're talking to an award-winning high school journalist right here. I wanted to be a journalist when I grew up. I was on my high school newspaper staff. I was on my college newspaper staff. I actually had bylines in my newspaper back in Virginia. I was the news editor in college. Back in the day when we did newspapers, we didn't have the internet, and we'd have to print out the articles from our very expensive Macintosh computers that we'd have to convince people to give us thousands of dollars to buy. And we'd have to put them through a wax machine and then lay them out on a piece of paper, and then it would go off to the press. And we didn't have, it's just a crazy process. But what's amazing about being journalists is that they really do speak truth to power. And that's why I won my award in high school. I was so proud of that. But it also empowers those who maybe don't see their power. And I think it's such an incredible journey. And I know maybe in 4th or 5th grade, you don't appreciate that yet. But just please hold on to this and use your voice and tell your stories. And I still talk to my high school journalism teacher, Mrs. Cox. It's really an amazing thing to remember the person who taught you how to really write. And I hope that you will take this and hone that craft, because we need thoughtful thinkers in our world. And thank you for doing this. And thank you everyone from Jensen Ranch to be here. Any questions from the board before we say goodbye? Well, they're staying. They're going to stay a little bit. We're having another presentation. We appreciate your positivity. And so we're going to do a few more presentations, and then maybe during our break, we can come and say hello to you. Would that be okay? Excellent. And if you want to stand there, if you guys want to do crisscross applesauce over there, whatever you want to do, whatever's controlled, you can do. So let's go to our next item. Recognition of the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. And I just want to say out loud, oh my, I can't believe it's been like 8 years.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Chan if you want to say a few words, but I just want to say, for all of you have seen what's happened in our classrooms, the modernization. It's been a lot of work. We have an amazing team, Ms. Chan, Ms. Sharon True-Quince, who are in charge. And a really important thing when you pass a bond is to have a Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. And that's a huge commitment, because they are the ones who have to hold us accountable and also support us in what we need to do. So Ms. Chan.
Thank you so much. And yes, I agree with what Ms. Amati said, Superintendent Amati shared. We are really honored to work with the CVUSD members, alternates, and members. And for the past 6 years, really 6 years, I know the Measure G was voted by taxpayers, a community in 2016. And so we started working in 2017. Since 2017, we've been doing a lot of work with Ms. True-Quince and Lynn Novak. And I know that Ms. True-Quince is here. And so a lot of work that has taken place. We have our website with all the information. Tonight, we're also, the CVOC chair is going to present the last annual report. And so stay tuned for that. But yes, we are Happy that some of the members are here to accept this recognition. So yes, that's right.
Oh, I get to pass out some plaques. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, is Provin Dawan here? No, no. Okay, Matthew Kaiser? Did I say that correctly? Thank you. An official certificate of recognition. You can see all of our beautiful signatures right there. Good. Very nice. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Excellent. Okay, let me welcome other folks. Todd Anglin. It's been, he helped out to make sure we got this passed. And they're all, you support our community. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Oh, okay. Manir Bhattacharya. Did I do it right? Was that okay? Oh, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Do you like the shovel? Yeah, I like it. Suresh Bhatt, are you here, Suresh? No, Suresh. He has worked his butt off for this. I was part. I know how much he's done for our community, and I want to thank Suresh. Carolyn Darcy. Thank you, Carolyn. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
This one's really, Justin Kemp. Like, this is awesome to be able to hand this to you. Tina Sachs, are you here, Tina? Tina, thank you. Miniature. Excellent. And those are the folks that, let's give them another round of applause.
Thank you so much. I honestly, like, as you were calling our CVUSD member, from the beginning, when we went out for the bond and all of the work that took place, every single one of them were so supportive, always kind of walking with us door to door, basically, to get the bond passed. And I'm just really proud of the work that's been done. Again, I want to thank you, and I want to give another shout out to our CBO, Ms. Chan, who has led all of this, and Miss Sharon Truquins. Where is she?
Yeah.
Right over there. Yeah. Thank you so
Can I
much.
just add one thing? One thing I say every time about our team here is like they take a dime and they turn it into like 25 cents. I don't know how they do it. And that's been really important. But an essential part of when you go out for a bond is that citizen oversight. And I think it shows the fidelity of this district and how one, the folks who stood up for it to support us and to make sure that we were providing that oversight. It's meant to be radically transparent to the public about what we are doing, how we're expending. And when I think of the fiscal challenges we face and how we were able to couple it with some matching funds from other sources, I'm really impressed about the scope of work we were able to accomplish. So I just want to thank private citizens stepping up, not for any money other than that they care passionately about this community and why these schools are important to our community. Thank you all for what you did to support this effort. And with that, we are going to transition over to our student board member report. Indiana.
Okay, so at the elementary levels, Proctor had their Pride Assembly on the 26th, and Stanton had their second Unity Assembly also on the 26th. Palomares on February 3rd is having Friday flag football in the morning for their students, and then coffee with the principal for parents. And Vanoy is also having coffee with the principal. CVE is having their science family learning night. That is tomorrow. And the Chabot Parents Club 75th dinner and auction, I believe it is also tomorrow. At the middle school level, Creekside is having Shrek the Musical put on by Play CV. That was 2 nights ago. And then on Saturday, January 25th was 5th grade family information night. February 2nd is Battle of the Valley. So that's very exciting for the middle schools. And Creekside is having a rally assembly for that during the day. And on February 15th, Creekside is having a Black History Month celebration. And there's going to be some students performing at that. At the high school level, Winter Ball was this Saturday, and we actually had like the most ticket sales we've ever had in the past 8 years. So that was 720 tickets. That was really good. Our dodgeball tournament is next week. Winter athletics continue to be a success. Women's basketball senior night was last week, and they won that. We've started Trojan Tunes on Friday, so we just play music in the quad and have some games, to help get the students kind of more connected. Elections are happening right now, so everyone is deciding what they're running for. And on Monday, leadership went to the Tri-Valley Leadership Conference. So we came back with a lot of new ideas for the school.
Thank you. Do you have any specific ideas you brought back?
I want to do a night rally next year. Yeah, I was talking to Maloney about it, the activities director, and we want to call it Midnight Madness, maybe a little student versus staff basketball game. It's in the works, nothing official, but that's my, I don't know, depends, but that was my favorite idea.
Well, thank you for that update. And let us go to our superintendent for update.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. I wanted to share that we actually are doing a traffic study around schools. And I want to thank Ms. Chan for getting actually a company who's going to visit every single school and watch the drop off and pick up and just traffic patterns throughout our community to help us actually see what else we could do to ease things for people and make sure that it's safe. So that'll be really wonderful. Today, actually, at our PLC, we had a presentation from, talking about safety and all of that with from the county. So this is something it's gonna take a little while, but we'll be sharing with you what our findings are. And the other thing is, last night we had our Community Alliance for Future Funding. And we had a really good discussion. We really talked about advocacy at the state level and local level. Who do we contact as far as legislators go when we talk about funding or anything that we need? So we have a list of people that we talked about connecting with and making sure that they hear our voice. It is really, really important to talk to legislators as they're going through approving the budget and coming up with new ideas. Today, I was meeting with Senator Newman, and our point was, don't come up with new ideas. Ask us, please, what children need. So we just need to always be advocating. I wanted to share with everybody that there is a special event on Tuesday called Stories of Hope. This is an amazing program. It's actually a film, and we're really lucky to have one of our employees, Miss Natalie Hung, who actually has a connection for free. This film is going to be at the CFA. It's talking about social emotional needs that students have, and it's a story of 3 young people who went through a really hard time and how they have survived and all of the things they had to go through and what needs to be done. And there will be a film and then a panel discussion. So I encourage everyone to think about going. It's on Tuesday, February 6th at 7 p.m., right? 7 p.m., I think. Anyway, it's been online. Community Alliance meeting is coming up tomorrow, and I'm really excited about that because we have everyone in the community, different groups that we've been a part of, that collaborative group, sitting together, talking about what we can do, not just here in our district, but community-wide. What can we do for Castro Valley? That group includes the Nate Miley's office, our assembly person, Women's Club, the League of Women Voters, Rotary, Chamber, Interfaith Council, the District Attorney's Office, the Sheriff's Office, CHP. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can do together in our community. So that's a pretty exciting event happening. That's it.
And
Thank you.
And I believe if someone wants a poster,
Oh, we have,
we still have
yes.
United
yes.
Against Hate posters,
Yes.
as well as in Castro Valley, we believe posters. So if you ever need one,
Yeah, and in fact, the posters actually say what you see outside as well. There's a banner that Miss Carrera had put together, and it's just, so we have posters that we encourage people to take, put on their window at their house that says, this is the kind of community we are. We want to welcome everybody. We want to show how we become, this is a community where we actually display humanity. So that's it. Thank you.
thanks so much. So we are about to recess just for a few minutes. I'm going to say for 6 minutes. I'll tell Siri to give us 6 minutes. And before our student journalists leave, we're elected officials. So if you ever want to interview us, thank you again, Jensen Ranch, for being here, and hope to see you all back here soon. And we'll be back in 6 minutes. Hello, Jaguars. You're very chatty. I should ask. Righto. Our next agenda items are California School Employees Association and the Castro Valley Teachers Association. Do we have a representative from CSEA here tonight or online? We do not. Next agenda item, do we have anyone from the Castro Valley Teachers Association? We do not. Excellent. So we are going to move to item 9. This is public comments for items not on the agenda. I have 1, 2, 3 cards here, and we have 4 online. I think we have sufficient time and we won't need to make any adjustments to the amount of time allotted. So Ms. Kayer, let's go. I go. What with the? I will call the blue ones first. Oh, righto. Brady Montgomery.
Hello all, my name is Brady Montgomery and I'm a junior at CVHS. I play baseball and football and I'm a 4.0 scholar athlete. Back in December, I made a petition for a new athletic director and I managed to collect approximately 1,000 signatures from parents and students. I have copies of the petition as well if you guys want to see it and supporting documentation. So right here are the signees, and I have also a bunch of forms for you guys to see. I feel that Miss Stacy, our current athletic director, has.
Sorry to interrupt. I would just note that we do have a complaint process. In the information on how to make a complaint about an employee or staff member is online. Just so you know.
Has consistently proven that this is an unfit job for her in the office. I believe that she should be moved to another spot in the office and a new athletic director should be hired. Complaints have been consistently voiced since she got the job. In the office has ignored those complaints. I cannot name a single athlete that has a high opinion of her and her ability to execute her job in a way that is beneficial to Castro Valley sports. Her priorities do not align with the priorities of athletes and coaches as a whole. She takes safety to a ridiculous extreme to a point where athletics are getting worse because of her constant protocols. For example, the 2023 spring baseball season was worsened by the number of times she has closed down the field because of rain. Many times the coaches who are experienced coaches who know a lot about baseball felt that we could practice on these fields, or at least we could go to the fields and we could, we could help clean the field and fix the field for future practices. Though I cannot speak on other sports or other situations in baseball, I have a long list of other incidences and rules that she's posed that other athletes have disliked or complained about. Also, I have screenshots of evidence via messages by many individuals, though I would prefer to keep them anonymous. Overall, through my research and personal experience, many CV athletes, and I believe that she has simply a lack of care for sports, and she uses her position in an overly authoritarian way to the detriment of athletes. I believe she's unfit for AD, and a new person should be hired for the athletic director position. Thank you for your time.
I'm going to call up Christy. Is it? I'm sorry. Arias. Thank you.
My name is Christy Arias, and I am the mother to 2 student athletes. They play football, track, and are on Spirit Squad. I'd like to share today with you concerns about our current CVHS athletic director, Kathleen Stacy. Our list.
Sorry to interrupt, but before you go forward, there is an official complaint process that you can find out on our website about employees.
The list of concerns is long and detailed, but today it's limited, just to share a few since we have limited time. She has been in this position for about 1.5 years now. The last several months, her incompetence as AD has become very apparent. Since she began as AD, we have had a very high coaching turnover rate. We have had over 35% of our coaches either resign or be fired. Some turnover would be normal, of course. Over 35% is incredibly high and unacceptable. I have asked the AD and the principal numerous times for a budget and bylaws for the athletic department. These should be readily available in order to be compliant with state laws for a nonprofit. However, I was given an income and expense sheet, not a budget, and was told that there are no bylaws and was referred to the bylaws of the WACC, which is the Western Alameda Conference. It is true that we are part of the WACC and comply with their bylaws, but we are a separate entity and should have our own bylaws. The hiring process for coaches is inconsistent and there's no written rules to follow. This has resulted in hiring of a women's JV soccer coach who knows very little about soccer and admitted to the team she wasn't sure how many girls should be on the field. Ultimately, we'd like the AD to be replaced with someone who is knowledgeable and passionate about athletics, someone who will get to know student athletes and care about them. We'd like to have a separate AD position from the assistant principal role, someone who can dedicate their time specifically to athletics. I've met with the principal. I've also sent messages to the superintendent. Nothing has been done to remedy the situation, which is why I'm here today speaking to you and also to support my student athletes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next and final card for in person is Kian Rogers.
Hello, my name is Kiana.
Great. Thank you for
Okay.
correcting me.
I wanted to speak to student athletes as well, but my concern is more along the lines of in 2020, we came here from Texas and my son has played multiple sports throughout the years. And when we came here, it's more along the lines of you have to choose this or choose that, and everything had to be afterwards. He has always remained to be a high honored student and even have that same establishment right now, but it is a lot harder dealing with the fact that he has to do everything after school. My proposal is that you consider that athletes replace gym and that athletes have an athletic program for freshmen and sophomore during the day and in the morning at that 0 period or first period. And for the juniors and seniors to have it in the evening or the last periods or for them, so that way that there's a separation. We won't have the problems that we have had, which is right now, we are without a coach. So a person who only has one sport, which is maybe baseball, they won't be able to go ahead and go in the workout room because they don't have a head coach. So right now we don't have a football head coach. So anybody who is on football cannot go inside the workout room as of right now. If these children had, or teenagers or young adults, if they had it where it was athletic, you can be able to be in season as well as off season. Off season means that you are working out and it is a class, not actual that, and it replaces gym. So it is also count as an elective for them as well. If they are someone who is like my son, who has been playing football since he was 6, then he can be able to use this elective for all 4 years and not have to go off and go to or something else. I just wanted to say, if you consider it and you had any questions, I will give anybody my information about it. I have been a part of different variety of things in Texas, and now I can be able to answer any questions. Okay, thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for your comments. And now we have 4 comments online. Oh, okay, should we welcome that person up? Scott Martin.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the board for the opportunity to speak for a few minutes today. And I'd like to talk about the Castro Valley Crocodiles as opposed to the wonderful talks from the Jaguars earlier today. The Castro Valley Crocodiles is a local nonprofit swim team that swims in the East Bay Swim League. Has over 140 swimmers on the team. They range in age from 5 to 18 years old. And of course, the majority of these kids are from the CV school districts and schools. The Crocs have been around for over 25 years in the community. So really just an amazing place for kids to come and exercise and learn team spirit and compete with other teams around the area. And they've been around for 25 years and have been using the high school pool for practices and meets for well over a decade at this point. Prior to the pandemic, the team worked directly with HARD for pool time. HARD was kind of managing the time prior to that. More recently, this has shifted to the high school taking over the pool and working with the school for time for the Crocodiles for practice and for meets. Certainly, as with everybody else in the district, the team and students really struggled a bit with the restrictions that came during the time of the pandemic and as we emerged from the pandemic. But really since then has reached maximal enrollment again. So again, upwards of 140 kids on this team. However, there are still some lingering challenges with all of the changes, particularly to the management of the pool and how we schedule time for the Crocodiles, and specifically getting enough practice time for the kids. So I'm here tonight to simply advocate for some considerations that might be able to be made to really allow for some more time for the kids. Specifically over the past couple of years, the practice time has been limited to about 2 hours and 15 minutes late in the evening after 7 o'clock for all these kids ranging in those ages from 5 to 18 years old. And we have to get 140 kids through the pool for practice in that time. So very tight to fit in all that practice. And it also led to some friction with the maintenance staff because obviously the Crocodiles want to get in there. We want to maximize the pool time all the way up to the end. The maintenance staff has to be there to open the pool, to close the pool. They, of course, want to get it closed, and we want to maximize our time. So there's been some friction there. So really, with that in mind, I just want to advocate again for some more considerations for pool time for the kids. Really, as much as an hour more per day in the evening or even early in the morning would be fantastic and make a world of difference to these terrific kids and terrific part of our community. So thanks again for your time.
Thank you for your comment. It's okay.
Yeah.
Hello, Sienna. Welcome to our meeting.
Hi, can I defer my time to Rachel Davis? She's actually in person. I wasn't able to attend tonight.
Do we need to have her fill out a card? It's okay. Okay, perfect. Thanks. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Rachel Davis. I'm the co-president of the Castro Valley Crocodiles. So I'm kind of piggybacking on what Scott was saying. And the three things we're asking for really are 1 hour more of pool time, either in the morning, around 6 or 7 in the morning, or if we can stay until 10. We weren't able to do that last year because they use the time, or the maintenance staff uses the time from 9:30 to 10 to clean the pool. And we're wondering if that can be done at a different time or to adjust the chemicals or to check the chemicals. So either 1 more hour of time in the morning or in the evening, just so we can get the kids in the pool and they don't have to rush out. The other thing that was an issue was on our meet days, which are Saturdays, we book the pool from 6:30 in the morning till about 1. That's how long our meet takes. And we do that through Facilitron, which everything's good on that end. The problem is that about half of the time we're waiting past the time for somebody to open the pool because either somebody calls off or they don't have anybody that wants to pick up the overtime. And my suggestion is either we are allowed to have a key that just opens the pool, or we can pick up a key on Friday night to use for the meet that morning, which we only have about 3 meets for the whole season. So it's 3 Saturdays that we would need a key so that I can let people in, because we host a meet, so we have about 200 swimmers total usually. And then also just communication. It's hard to, we're required to do everything through Facilitron, which is a website, it's a computer, and it works well for booking time, but it doesn't work well for if we have questions, if there's nobody there to open the pool, who do I call? Just being able to have a point of contact would be really helpful, so that we're not scrambling and at least we know what's going on if there's nobody there to open the pool, if we need to reschedule, because we are paying for the time and we're willing to pay the overtime. We're willing to pay whatever it costs. It's just more about advocating for the kids to get in the pool and for us to be able to use the pool in the time that we've booked. Those are our main things, and I appreciate your time, and I'm hoping that we can continue this. Our team's been around for 25 years in Castro Valley. They used to swim up in Columbia, and we've been using the high school pool for about 10 or 15 years. So we want to continue that, and all our kids go to school and they swim for the high school. So
Thank you so much for your Good evening, Abigail. You're at the school board meeting.
Good evening. My name is Abigail Martin, and I swim with the Castro Valley Crocodiles. I started swimming with the Crocs in 2015 when I moved from Maryland. The Crocs has helped me to make friends in a new place, which was very scary. But over the time, Crocs has really become important to me. Over my 7 years of swimming on the team, I have become a junior coach, and I'm working with the younger students to help them learn to swim, but to also develop social and emotional skills that they can use throughout the rest of their lives. As a junior coach, I have seen the conflict that our limited pool time has created, and I worry that it will be detrimental for the team. I want the best for the team, and I want to see the team continue to help future generations learn how to swim and develop important life skills that they will need to go on into the future. Thank you.
Thank you for calling in, Abigail. We appreciate your comments. Good evening, Austin. You're live at the Castro Valley School Board meeting.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Austin Z, and I'm currently a senior at Castro Valley High School. I've been on the Crocodiles since I was 10, and I can confidently say that this was the team that led me into my achievements in water polo and swimming. So I was the Castro Valley men's varsity water polo team captain of this school year, and I was the captain of the varsity swim team for last school year. I've been on the men's varsity water polo team for each of the 4 years I've been a student at the high school, and the Crocs swim team has helped me improve a lot. Each day I would go to practice, putting my all into each swim set, striving to improve my strength and my endurance, both physically and mentally. And I've met many people at the pool. Some of them have become my friends, and others became my role models. These people have inspired me to excel not just in the pool, but also in school in the form of clubs and academics. The Crocodile swim team means a lot to us, and I hope it can continue to bring people together and help them grow. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling in. So that's all for public comments. So I just want to thank everyone who took the time to come here in person or to join us online to make a public comment. While we cannot and will not comment on it, we heard you, we hear you, and we appreciate you saying what you said tonight and sharing your information. You always are welcome to come to school board meetings and make public comment. Thank you. Let's go on to the consent agenda, which is an action item.
Move consent, approval of the consent item.
We have one motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
We got two motions. Shall we take a vote? Student trustee,
Yes.
student board member,
Yes.
trustee Raymond,
Yes.
trustee Howard,
Yes.
vice president Adams.
Yes.
And I am a yes, so it passes 5-0. Oh, so yeah, because we don't count Alvin because she's not here. Excellent. So let us move on to reports, discussion, and action items. Our first one is item A, and it's an action item to and our intent to appoint personnel commissioners.
Thank you. I'm going to hand this over to our Director of Human Resources, Dr. Dustin Goshru, who will review the process and where we are currently.
All right, well, good evening, and thank you so much for allowing me to have a few minutes to share about our Personnel Commissioner nomination process. But before I go any further, I just wanted to take this opportunity to publicly recognize the distinguished service of Commissioner Terry Bailey and Christopher Lowe, who served the district as personnel commissioners for many, many years and made numerous contributions to the organization. We miss them greatly, and they're going to be very hard acts to follow, which is why we needed a very thoughtful and comprehensive process to select and bring you commissioners to recommend for appointment to the Personnel Commission. So when we were tasked with bringing new names forward, we did what we do in Castro Valley, which is we work together as a team. And that involved meeting with our CSEA leadership, with Superintendent Amati, Assistant Superintendent Dr. Zamora, and our Commissioner Tony Wilkerson, who is here. We met together and came up with the process that I'm going to share with you this evening. So we began by advertising widely for our personnel commissioner positions. If we're going to get a high number of qualified applicants, we need to cast a wide net. So we created a banner for the website, advertised in the Castro Valley Forum throughout the month of December. We sent multiple Parent Square emails to families and community members and shared widely on social media. And as a result, we were able to ascertain 7 highly qualified applicants, which is, in searching through the records, that is more applicants than we have ever received. We also formed a Personnel Commissioner nomination committee that was comprised of 2 representatives from CSEA, 2 of our board members, our Personnel Commissioner Tony Wilkerson, and myself. And we met throughout the month of January to develop norms for the committee, determine a decision-making process, determining that all of our committee decisions were going to be made by consensus. We determined screening criteria with a little help from Thought Exchange and Amy. We screened applications, developed interview questions, interviewed all of the applicants together, and ultimately determined 2 candidates to bring to you as our recommendations tonight. So I am happy to share with you tonight that the committee is recommending that the board nominate Monica Lee to fill the term of Commissioner Lowe and Vanessa Peterson to fill the term of Commissioner Bailey. So what are the next steps? The Education Code prescribes a lengthy process for appointing a personnel commissioner. So tonight we are asking the board to announce its intent to recommend our 2 commissioners. Then on March 13th, because we need to have at least a 30-day waiting period, we will bring it back to the board and ask the board to hold a public hearing and then confirm its recommendation to appoint our 2 recommended candidates. And then that information will be forwarded to our State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tony Thurman, who will ultimately make the appointment. And we are hoping then to have our new commissioners in place by April. So long process indeed. I want to thank the members of the committee. Thank you to Trustee Raymond and Trustee Whitaker for serving on the committee, along with our CSEA President Connie Hill and Jason Bonini, Vice President, as well as Commissioner Wilkerson. And on behalf of the Personnel Commissioner Nomination Committee, I now respectfully request that the board consider announcing its intent to recommend the appointment of Monica Lee to complete the term of Commissioner Lowe and Vanessa Peterson to complete the term of Commissioner Bailey.
Yes, Trustee Raymond.
Obviously, we're going to need to put a motion on
Yep,
the table
yep.
here before, and I'd like to do that. But before I do, I just do want to really commend Dr. Gosher for running a really smooth process. The committee, we worked together really well, but I really want to commend the facilitation that you put in place and the thoughtfulness with which you approached that part of that job. I learned a lot, in those meetings about what the Personnel Commission does. I learned a lot about the merit system. And although Trustee Whitaker is not here tonight, I believe she would join me in saying that it was a great experience. We feel like we got great candidates to think about and to consider. Getting to know Tony Wilkerson a bit was really lovely as well. And I hope that we've picked nominees here who will really help you do the work of the Personnel Commission in a satisfying and productive way. I do want to say that the two women who we have selected to propose as nominees are both very passionate about the merit system. And we believe that they're really going to look out not just for our employees, but for the district as a whole and for what our students need, in terms of you get the best people to work, you give the best to our students, and so that was really on the forefront of our minds in making this decision. The other thing I will say that was really on the forefront of our minds was making sure that our nominees or our applicants had a good understanding and appreciation for the work of classified staff in our schools. And I can assure you that the two women who we're advancing tonight, not only do they appreciate that, they understand it, they live it. You all know Monica Lee, of course. Vanessa Peterson, if you don't know her, had worked as classified member of CVUSD staff for many years and as a parent of CVUSD students. So she also is innately familiar with what that means. So I think we found some really great people. And so I guess I would like to move that we do we say accept that nomination of Monica Lee?
I think, do we move to make the announcement?
Or do we move to announce them as our nominees?
Just say we moved. Move. You can move the item.
So let's move the item, or I move that we move the item. Sorry, we're still working on language over here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Okay.
Yeah, you move to make a public announcement
Thank you.
of your intention to nominate.
I shall move that I'm making a public announcement tonight on behalf of the board of our intent to nominate Monica Lee and Vanessa Peterson to fill the vacancies on our Personnel Commission.
Do I have a second?
Yes, I will second that.
Is there any discussion? I have something to say. I would like to just say, Commissioner Wilkerson, I know this has been a trying time for you and this means a lot to you. Your service to this district is, it's just phenomenal to think of the institutional knowledge you have, and that's going to be so important. So thank you for carrying this torch. And I really appreciate it. And the entire board appreciates your service. I basically just want to say, Dr. Gosharu, I just wanted to say that. Again, Dr. Gosharu, so impressed by what may have been said by fellow board members about just the amazingly, just amazing process. You know what you're doing. Anyone who could do a dissertation, I know, could probably do a process like this in their sleep. So thank you for your service and thank you for putting this together. And so with that, I apologize, student board member Chilton, you may not vote on this. So let me direct our first vote to Trustee Raymond.
I will be voting yes.
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 And I'm a yes, 4-2-0. Oh, do I have to go out to like the street corner and announce it? Hear ye. No. Okay, thank you.
We'll come back to you.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item is a presentation. We spoke about this group earlier, the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee annual report to the community, and this will be their final report to the community, if I am correct. Yes.
Yes, we have the CBOC Chair, Justin Kemp, who will present the final report.
Good evening. Thank you. Present the final report for the CBOC. It's been a pleasure to be a part of this committee. I want to, a couple words. I can't add any real substance to the report itself, so I just had a couple things, kind of like a personal things I wanted to share. Being a parent in the school district, seeing the improvements that Measure G has done, it's been really tangible and something that I think every parent has appreciated. And being in my unique position to be on every school site and get to see these improvements everywhere, it's been fun. Recognition is great. I really appreciate it, but the real recognition, I have to say, goes to Assistant Superintendent Susie Chan, Director Sharon Quince. Never going to say that right. Lynn Novak, which I don't think is here with us tonight. And I think I'm speaking for the entire CBOC, current and past, when I really want to congratulate the district on a very well managed and executed bond measure. Thank you. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions or comments from the board members? We'll start with Trustee Raymond.
I do just want to say thank you to everyone, Susie, the whole committee, everyone who's been part of making Measure G happen over these years, because I know it's been a massive project. And I also just appreciate the work that you guys have done to make sure that we understand how the money is being spent. Anyone in the room who hasn't had an opportunity to see the project before and afters that's on the district website, really encourage you to take a look, because it's remarkable. Like, some of the projects have been just really lovely changes in how our classrooms are set up, how our playgrounds are designed to foster more community and collaboration, and the kids' ability to draw on their environments. It's really impressive, and it's worth taking a look. So yeah, and as a parent, I definitely see it too, and it's definitely tangible, it's real, and it's really amazing that it has come to fruition, over all this time, and that we can really say, okay, wow, congratulations, it's done. Good work. So, thank you.
Trustee Howard.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for all the work. I mean, the community entrusted us with a lot of money. $123 million is a very great deal of money for Castro Valley. And we have a really good team here, but it's always great to have the assurance of an outside set of eyes to look at it and to make sure that we're doing the right thing. So you guys did a great job on that. And the one thing that I would say about that group over the years is every time I was around them was how serious you guys took your job. It wasn't just, oh yeah, showing up and no big deal. That group really did look into it and did a great job. And we really appreciate that. It's very important that we maintain our credibility with the community, and you guys helped us do that. So thanks to all of you very much. Great job.
Trustee Adams.
Yes, I want to thank you all very much. Justin, representing the other people who are here. There's some great improvements. I've been around Castro Valley Unified for quite a while. And one of my favorite ones is at the elementary schools, the amphitheaters that are also covered over. I think those are really fabulous. And they look like long lasting and sturdy. They'll be here years from now. And what a great way to be able to have all the kids in a school gather together. And thank you for that. But there's so many different things that were done for Measure G in the high school, just even like furniture and new desks and those sorts of things. Really great to see. Thank you for all your work, everybody who's on the committee, for doing great oversight and helping out Castro Valley Unified. Thank you.
Anything for me?
I mean, I already really just shared how just my gratitude for all of you and our two awesome team. But I wanted to say something that a lot of times doesn't happen when you have a bond is kind of having this foresight, like what's next. And I think our team and with your support, that's really has been key. And I think that's why you've gotten so many more grants to do one more thing. For example, the shade structures that you mentioned, that was a brilliant idea. And then recently, the legislation that passed that requires all schools to have shade structure with no money coming from the state. So it's just incredible. That was really great. I also wanted to say I've been in 3 districts in my 34 years of education, and I've seen lots of bonds pass, and everyone tries to do their best. But I honestly have to say, I'm not saying it because I'm here, but what they have done is absolutely incredible. I've never seen something from beginning to end that actually is done this way. So I just want to thank you again.
And I'll just say ditto to everything that they said into my previous comments. I will just add that, when we were knocking on doors for this, so much skepticism in this community. And it really bothers me that we live in a state that's so wealthy that it doesn't know how to actually build quality school buildings. We shouldn't have to do it this way. And we $123 million really is not enough to get done what we need to actually have schools that our kids are safe in, that they can learn in the 21st century. And again, I'm just beyond impressed anyone who would step up and be on an oversight committee like this to look at really, how do you construct something, the budget numbers. So thank you again for this service. It's sort of that quiet service that happens in all communities that is essential, and it's a part of our transparency and oversight for your very stretched thin public school district. Thank you. Oh, we have a student perspective. Sorry.
From the student perspective, I know not only me, but a lot of students at the high school. I just speak for the high school, but I'm sure at the middle school and elementary school levels too, we've definitely noticed a difference. I don't know if it falls exactly under this, but right now, in between the 300 and 400 hall, they're like ripping up all the grass and putting fake grass in. And I'm so happy about it. Like, me and my friends have been wanting that to happen for years, because like we used to sit there and it was just not it. And now we're really excited. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you again. Let's go to our next item. Adopt resolution 32-23/24, certifying the mitigated negative declaration under CEQA for the Canyon Middle School Fields project, approving the mitigation monitoring and reporting program, and approving the project.
Yes, I'm going to invite our Director of Facilities, Sharon True Quins.
Good evening. So thank you everyone for all your lovely compliments. But the work continues, and we were here back in December, on December 14th, with the public hearing for this project. So now that the public review period is over, we're bringing you back the report. We did receive one comment, and our CEQA consultant will speak to that later, and he will be the one giving this presentation. So I'd like to welcome Greg Goodfellow from PlaceWorks.
Good evening, board members. Nice to be back. As always, thank you so much. As Sharon mentioned, I was here about 2 months ago to talk about the public hearing and the public review period for this project, which is closed. So I'm going to present a little bit about the final ISMND. You've seen some of this information before, but I'll go through it for others who haven't. Again, what is the California Environmental Quality Act? It's the state's primary environmental protection law. It requires that public agencies analyze and disclose environmental impacts of projects that have a physical effect on the environment. And this district has completed a draft CEQA review of the Canyon Middle School recreational field project via an initial study mitigated negative declaration. We're now, of course, closed the public comment, and the final draft is complete. So what is a mitigated negative declaration? It is an informational document. It does not approve or deny a project. It follows an initial study in which it is determined that a project would have no significant unavoidable impacts that could not be mitigated. And it identifies mitigation measures to reduce all potential impacts to a less than significant level. And it's paired with a mitigation monitoring and reporting program, which ensures that all of these measures are implemented, monitored, and documented by the appropriate body. And an M&D, of course, must be certified by the lead agency prior to project approval. So as I said before, certifying this document does not approve the project, but in the case of school districts who are both the lead agency and more or less the project proponent, that does usually happen as a pair. But technically, certifying the document does not approve the project, although it's happening together. A quick overview of the process. The district prepared a notice of preparation, which is required by the law. And that includes an invitation for input on the environmental concerns to be addressed. Then, of course, we complete the environmental review, which in this case was the ISMND versus what you've heard of, an environmental impact report, an EIR, which is for a larger project with more significant potential impacts. Then, of course, we put the draft document out for 30 days of public comment, and that was advertised in the local paper. That's when I was here last. And we got no comments verbally, but we did get one comment, which I'll go through. And then finally, we take those comments to complete the final ISMND, which is certified. And it's important to point out for everyone listening that although the final ISMND sounds like some new version of the public draft, really what it is the public draft paired with those responses to comments and any necessary revisions to the public draft made to it. So it really is the same document with this additional information of those comments responded to properly and any additions made, or excuse me, revisions made. Again, the CEQA, what's called guidelines, and Appendix G lays out what environmental topics need to be addressed. There are many of them, from aesthetics all the way down to wildfire. You've seen these before, most likely. What did we find out in our ISMND? We found 6 potentially significant impacts that were found to be less than significant with proper mitigation. All of these were quite normal for a project of this size. We found 1 air quality impact that really just had to do with, like all construction projects, there could be dust particles kicked up during construction. So we just need to adhere to the Bay Area Air Quality Management District's most recent fugitive dust requirements. Very normal, all projects should. Biological resources, we found that there could be impacts to nesting birds in trees in the area depending on the season. So we decided that mitigation should be in the form of nesting surveys to make sure there are no active nests in the construction period. And if there are, let's make sure to create buffers around those nests, also very common in this area. For cultural and paleontological resources, very common. It stated mitigation in the case of a resource discovery. If we do come across something important, something valuable, stop construction, get an expert in there, make sure that it's dealt with and that it's recorded. And then finally, for tribal cultural resources, I mentioned this last time, we work closely with the North Valley Yakutsk tribe, and they are going to give construction sensitivity training to make sure that anyone working on this project understands what they might come across in terms of a tribal cultural resource and works with the tribe to come across, to decide on a way to proceed after the work stoppage. So that was great to get input from the North Valley Yakutsk. So we did receive 1 written comment during the 30-day public review period. And the summary of this is that, in CEQA statute, there's this phrase germane to the CEQA process for comments. And what that means is that the CEQA process is really only responding to comments that are directly about the CEQA analysis itself and not the quote merits of the project. That's what you'll see in CEQA statute. And the comments we heard, the comment letter we heard was mostly about the potential risks of synthetic fields. And PlaceWorks has done a lot of huge sports resource complexes all across the state. This is an ongoing issue. And this letter cited opposition to the field due to concerns about heat retainment, the chemical composition, and potentially dangerous chemicals in synthetic fields, potential injuries, and then the lack of the biome in a field as opposed to a natural turf, which obviously has bacteria, insects, etc. And we responded, first of all, to clarify, and this is an amazing decision the district made, that this synthetic field is not going to be made of, quote, crumb rubber, which is that very dangerous chemical that many districts and even the EPA is concerned about. And I cite in my response an EPA study. And but what I realized we needed to do instantly was revise the project description to make sure that it's very clear that this is this unique synthetic material made from shredded olive pits, which have been, yeah, and that was a great decision by the district. And so we made sure that that was in there. And again, regardless of the comments, none of the actual analysis in the IR needed to be revised. It was just, we wanted to clarify that. So really what you're getting as far as our air quality study, which is done on this very technical software, that is actually now more conservative because it did not take into account those shredded olive pits. So even though it took into account the traditional metrics that go into a synthetic field and still came out less than significant, obviously now with this newer shredded olive pit field, it is even more conservative and therefore the impacts are even less. All right, as I mentioned before, a final ISMND is really the public draft with those revisions I just mentioned and a formal recording of the comments and the responses, which you've seen in your packet. And then also a mitigation monitoring and reporting program, which lists all the mitigation measures, the party responsible for implementing those measures, the timing of the implementation, is it pre-construction, is it during construction, et cetera. And then also the party responsible for monitoring that those mitigations happened and the type of monitoring and the frequency of that monitoring. And that's all in a very simple table that you've seen in your packet as well. Again, no surprises there with the structure or the content. And with that, I will close my presentation. I will mention also that this is another example of the great work of the measure. And part of that money goes to paying me. Great work.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Great. Any questions? Trustee Raymond.
So not so much a question, but I will, like, for full transparency, I'm definitely a person who hears synthetic turf and thinks, oh, yards and yards of rubber and plastic, and I don't like the sound of it. Just like that's my instinct. And so I'm actually really glad to hear that there's an alternative and we're using that. I didn't even know that olive pits were an option. And I like the sound of that a lot. And I already was, definitely feeling comfortable with the analysis, and the mitigations that are being considered. But this makes me feel even better about it. So
It's a difficult subject because, as I cited, the EPA has created this task force to really look into it, which is proof A that there is concern, but the results of that task force so far are just not quite solid.
Sure.
And the technology for these things is evolving so rapidly that it's difficult to really nail down whether or not those impacts, actually impact the users of the field or not.
Sure. But in the meantime, if there is a more natural ingredient that we can be using in this project, it stands to reason that we should be using it. And I'm glad that that's what we're doing. And I'm also glad that the report's being amended so that that's clear. So anyone else who might look at it and have the same concerns that I would have about that sort of thing would see it and think, oh, okay, maybe not as bad as I'm thinking.
Trustee Adams.
I was just wondering, is the synthetic turf permeable?
The olive pits are now, and that's
That are below it.
yeah, so that's called the infill. And so in my research, I spoke to emailed the company who makes it. And so it decreases heat retainment. It decreases, the compression of the infill. And it's what allows, and the system is described somewhat, not in too much detail in the project description, but it's that's what allows water to get to the drainage system, which is being put in by the district. So everything about these shredded olive pits is an improvement over this crumb rubber. It sounds to me like the whole industry is going to start shifting to these sustainable materials.
Okay, thank you.
I want to congratulate you on getting a public comment. Um, I think that's fantastic, honestly. I think the problem here is always the framing of these things. Like there's really great stuff in here for us to understand about the impacts of our projects. I just think the mitigated negative declaration kind of gets in the way of the public understanding of what it is. I do have a question. How deep down does the pit go that you're putting all the olive pits in? Like,
It's only, I don't know exactly.
Okay, okay.
The infill is usually about 1.5 to 3
Okay, got it.
inches. And so that also relates to the commenter's other concern about injuries.
Mhm.
And, I went and I cited studies about, there just isn't a true causality between these things and more injuries. It's based on so many factors, the type of sport played, whether or not they're wearing safety equipment. So my response was really about, the district will do its best to control these factors to make sure the field is maintained, just like a normal turf, just like a natural turf would be. And it's really about maintenance and, good policies and rules that are key to the safety.
Well, once these fields are open, I will only think about olives when I'm up there. So this is an action item? Oh, no. It is an action item.
This action.
So do I got a first motion anywhere?
I'll move that we adopt resolution 32-2324.
Do I have a number 2?
I'll second it.
Great. We have a first and a second. Student Board Member Chilton,
Yes.
Trustee Raymond,
Yes.
Trustee Howard,
Yes.
Vice President Adams,
Yes.
and I am a yes. That is 5-0. We have adopted the resolution. Thank you so much.
For having me.
Our next item, 11D, is an information item on the governor's proposed 2024-25 budget.
This is a really quick update. The governor came out with his proposal a couple of weeks ago. So I have a few slides here. The theme for the budget, the 24-25 governor's budget, is really the focus is the $37.9 billion shortfall. We heard about a couple of months ago that it was 68 and from the LAO's office. And so with this governor's proposal, this is actually it is a 37.9 billion shortfall. So so the little, that's the differences there between the two. Though the 37.7 billion shortfall, the governor is protecting education budget. So against the local impact of the 12 billion reduction in Prop 28. But he is focusing on the learning on students continues to that are deeply impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. And of course, then, as I shared, he used less pessimistic revenue assumptions than the LAO. So really a $30 billion difference between the two. What's good news and bad news about this? Good news is that we've seen a really historic increases in COLA for the in Prop 98 since 1920 because of the influx of revenue that the state has received. And so at the same time, right, we are well aware of the state being well prepared for this type of downturn, right? So financial downturn due to record levels of reserves that the state received. The bad news is there's still a 26 billion shortfall of tax revenues, and that is from the 22-23, not the 23, not the current year, but it's really prior year. And this is because the decision was made to extend the deadline for taxes, federal and state. And so it was, they were due in April and then extended all the way to October. And then once October came, another month, extended it by another month. And so in November. So the state did not really have information at that time to to approve the budget, the current budget 23-24, because it's still relying on, projections at that time. So here we are, in January, that 26 billion shortfall of tax revenues is now here. Let's see. So here's the historical statutory COLAs, cost of living adjustment. So you're looking at in just last year, 8.22%. That was really, so if you look at 8.22, and then in 1983-84, that was 8%. So really long time since we've actually received an 8.22% COLA. I'll talk more about the 0.76. So a few things that the governor is using or really looking at in order to cover the shortfall is the reserves. So this is the proposal. So if you look at the chart there, enacted budget 23-24, which is what he approved in June. So the plan was to make those deposits in 22-23 and 23-24. But take a look at 24-25. This is the proposal in January now. He still is required to make deposits because there's a certain formula that they follow to make the deposit. But at the same time, if you look at that chart at the bottom for 23-24 and 24-25, he is proposing to actually draw from the reserves. So that's a total of $5.7 billion. LCFF overview. So we've shared with you at the May revise and also the 45-day revise in August, that the governor did use or is also relying on one-time funds to really cover the 8.22% COLA in 23-24. So that's still ongoing, right? So still the same thing, is using one-time funding to meet the ongoing obligation. Out of the 5.7 with the previous slide of the withdrawals, 5 billion is actually, he's using most of it. So 5 billion is to allocate to support the LCFF. What's not in the education budget, despite the significant drop, there are no cuts. So that's why this presentation is very short. No cuts, no deferrals, no sweeps, even though the problem really is last year, he's not taking any money back from us for last year. Here are the LCFF funding factors. So the proposal for 24-25 is a 0.76% COLA. So the governor's enacted budget for 24-25 was 3.94 because of now with the taxes did not come in as projected. So he is projecting or proposing a COLA for us of 0.76%. And then here is just a kind of to show you the next 3 years, 24-25 all the way to 26-27, based on the January proposal compared to the June 2023, which is what he proposed at that time when he approved the budget. So I mentioned 3.94, but it is looking like it's a 0.76%. And the 0.76% is the data. They have 4 data points, 4 out of 6 data points. So we still have 2 more. So it depends on how the revenue comes in, and with those 2 data points, the last 2 data points, it may stay at 0.76, could be less, could be more. But what we're hearing is it is actually tracking really good. And so we may see a little bit, a small bump, but I know that we're also hearing don't spend it all. So don't, so it, as of January, it's a 0.76. So we will see in November what that actually looks like after they have the two other data points. So 25, 26, at 3.29 and back in June, but now it's proposed to be 2.73. So it's a 0.56 difference. And then of course, a 0.08, a very small in 26, 27. This is the dartboard. This is what we're going to use when we're actually preparing our second interim report now. So we will be updating our multi-year projections to reflect these changes. And always want to share the contribution rates for CalPERS. So as you can see in 23-24, we are the contribution is 26.68, and they're projected to go up in the next few years. But CalSTRS is going to be the same, and it's projected for the next 3 years to be at 19.1, so no changes there. The road ahead. So this is the proposal again from the governor. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, really negotiations with the legislator and other representatives. So we will wait until the May revision, which is mid-May, to get more information, and then we will share those with you at that time. And then just the schedule of our next steps. And then any questions?
Any questions from the board? Vice President Adams.
So with CalPERS going up like that, all the way to 30 point some odd %, is that going to not our districts specifically, but is that going to make districts maybe not hire as many admins? Because they're getting very expensive?
No, I mean, we hire based on need.
Mhm.
So regardless of how high that goes, we have to hire who we have to hire. Yeah, I mean, nobody hires like extra. You just
Right,
hire as
of
many
course
as you
not.
need. But it is, I mean, it keeps going up. But the reason, since we already know, it's always a part of our projection.
Mhm.
It's not like a surprise, like we had when all of a sudden it went from 8 point some % to.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Trustee Howard. We have this historical memory about state pensions. We've talked about this before. We saw that shock back, was it 2011, we saw that the UC system throughout the state. So that like crazy increases were kind of tapering out now. So it's less of a shock to the system. Any other questions? I have a question. So effectively, we are looking at a budget cut, right? If you're looking at that type of a COLA of 0.76, like when you think about inflation and you look at the pot of money we'll probably have next year, doesn't that effectively mean we're costs that?
Yeah, definitely. So the multi-year, we did project a 3.94%, and so now it's a 0.76. So we are looking at our budget, and that is the second interim and also our ZBB process. So those are the things that we are really looking at and working with departments and sites to review budget line by line, look at anything that we can possibly adjust. But at this point in time, I mean, we're still working on the ZBB. We'll make some recommendations, but another thing for us is also we are growing. So because of the number of students that we have, we increased by 280 compared to other districts where they are there. It's the impact to them is the point that the change, the reduction in COLA, as well as declining enrollment. For us, it's just one, which is the COLA, but not the other one, which is enrollment.
Would you say, do we have a general message throughout the district though of sort of budget austerity-ishness? Like, I mean, where are we sending a message like, maybe think about that conference. Like what are we saying internally? I'm just-
Well, and that's what we were talking about. So when we do our ZBB, we look at, okay, all the things we're doing are things that we feel are important, but not everything is as important when you are looking, just like your own finances, right? But really, we're in a much better place than places where they have a declining enrollment, because declining enrollment means that 0.76 is a big cut.
Yes. Yes.
It doesn't even cover like any of their, it's just, and this is why our advocacy at the state and local level about attendance is really important to make up for some of that.
Trustee Howard.
Yeah, I think all those moves are wise right now because Susie and Dolly and I were at the Capital Advisors state budget briefing yesterday, and it's better. I was actually sort of relieved by their presentation, but because I expected sort of a bloodbath, but it's still not done yet. So they just said, we really have to wait to see what's going to happen. But and there is a difference of opinion between the budget office and the governor and so forth, which is interesting. But I think we just need to be careful ourselves to make sure that we're doing as much as we can to be careful.
And that negotiation from now until May is critical because we are 48% of the budget. Health and Human Services is going to get a big cut. Those are really important services in our communities. So there's going to be this push like, well, yeah, you want to protect public education and we love it, but what are we going to do? And then the fact that we're using all the reserves at the state, right? What happens in 2 years, for example? And I think it was last week when they said the latest for January was actually like 3 billion under. So who knows? Maybe it'll get better. Maybe it won't.
Well, Susie, I always appreciate your updates to the board. You help us understand this in a way that I think without you, we would be lost. So thank you. Let us move on to our next item. It's an action item. It's to approve the personnel reports.
Just the staff has been working on the routine personnel report, and it's up for your vote for approval.
I move that we approve the personnel report.
I'll second.
Excellent. We have a first and a second. Let's vote. Trustee Raymond.
Yes.
Trustee Howard.
Yes.
Vice President Adams.
Yes.
And I am a yes. And so it's passed 4-0. Let us now move on to board member comments and reports. And let me go back to our student board member. If you have anything to add? Okay, I want to hear more updates about midnight football or whatever. Okay. Okay. Excellent. Trustee Raymond.
Sounds fun. All right. So obviously you heard about the personnel nomination committee work that we've been doing, or we did, and it was definitely a very satisfying experience. So I'm glad I stepped up to participate in that manner, and I'm glad that we found some good people. What else have I done? I was at the cafe meeting yesterday, and I think a big takeaway from that is advocacy is key. I mean, which is a passion of mine anyway, and any of us can do it. And we're putting a great list together of elected officials and committees in Sacramento that are working directly on issues pertaining to education funding. That, contact list can be available, I think, to anyone who might even have some strange thought that maybe they could contact them too. So, and I think that we are going to have some good advocacy opportunities coming out of that group. What else is going on? I'm going to Battle of the Valley on Friday. Hopefully the rain holds off, and I don't know if I'm cheering for Creekside or Canyon. Well, I've had a Canyon student and now I have a Creekside student. So, I may have, And plus, I just want the best for the kids, like all of them. So, but we're looking forward to it and it should be fun. What else was I gonna say? I was really glad to hear that we're doing a traffic study. That's great news. I don't know, over the years, I've seen so many awful things, and having been a parent volunteer on our traffic committee at Vanaway was just like feeling like taking my life into my own hands on some mornings. And so I think it's really smart that we're going to put some look into, how the traffic patterns are working out around our schools, and if anything can be done to improve them. That's about it. I'm going to be a master's in governance this weekend. And other than that, I think that's all I've got. Thank you.
So I only have two things to report, and the first one I've already talked about, and that was Capital Advisors meeting yesterday. The second one was with Trustee Whitaker. I attended the Budget and Facilities Committee meeting last week with Ms. Chan and Ms. Sharon. Yeah, I always never know her last name, but
Sharon.
at any rate, that meeting was interesting. So that's all I have to report right now. Thanks.
President Adams.
Yes. I have 6 items. I was at the Capital Advisors Budget Workshop. Very interesting. Lots of good information. We'll see what happens. 2, I was at Rotary. You were too, of course. And Aisha Knowles was there, and she was giving us a bit of a history of Russell City in the Hayward area. Very interesting. I'd like to really find out more about that. So she piqued my interest in that. The Community Allies for Funding for Education, or CAFE, with Trustee Raymond. We will be working on doing some more advocacy for with our legislatures, legislative body. Let's see, number 4, the Special Ed PAC meeting, or PAC Parent Advisory Council. We met with Stacy Illard, who always has great presentations, and that was a very good meeting. We'll be meeting again next month. Then Castro Valley Education Foundation, Spring for Education is going to be April 26th. Okay, and I recommend that everybody come, and it's also really a whole lot of fun. You should come. And then 6th is the Regional Policy Board. That's the SELPA, which is Castro Valley, Hayward, San Leandro, and San Lorenzo Special Ed directors, and a board member come from each one. We went over a presentation by Pam Macy, and which was very interesting. And I went from being president of the board to going to being vice president of the board. So kind of a sideways move, I don't know. And so that's my 6 items. Thank you.
Nope. Thank you.
I just want to acknowledge this past weekend was International Holocaust Remembrance Day. Throughout my life, I've known Holocaust survivors, and spent time in concentration camps, and I visited Yad Vashem in Jerusalem. And I just think about, in the context of where we are right now, it's a really good reminder of fighting for a world where we get rid of hate, and we don't prosecute people just for who they are. And I'm proud of the work that we do in our district to ensure that we raise children and citizens who respect the identity and their neighbors just for being who they are. I also want to acknowledge that Black History Month kicks off. Today's the 31st, so tomorrow. And one of the things that makes me exceptionally proud of this district is how it embraced Black Minds Matter. And I know we have a cohort starting for that. So I encourage anyone who has the opportunity to benefit from that program to please sign up for it. It's a great experience. And with that, I have nothing else to say, and I want to wish everyone a happy rest of their evening. And thank you very much for being at our school board meeting. Good evening.